All right, welcome in to episode 28 in the Shadow of the Apple Show. I'm Ryan, here with my friend Dylan. We're going to
Yep.
talk a little bit about Yankees and Mets baseball today, of course. Nothing new there. We're going to talk a little bit about the Yankees' most recent series against the Seattle Mariners at home. First game of their new series in Toronto. Talk about the Mets. They finished up a series in Atlanta, and we'll talk about their first game of their new series against the Nationals at home.
Yes. Yes. So something that I do want to talk about before we start the episode, since it literally just got announced right now. Well, actually, no, it's I guess 24 hours ago. But I just saw it on my feed right now. So they just announced that the Red Sox and the Royals are going to be doing the Field of Dreams game in 2027, if there is a 2027. But as of right now, it is planned to be Royals Red Sox, and I'm I'm just starting to question, like, is there any like is there anything between those two teams, like going like way back? Like I'm
I
trying
don't
to think,
think so.
or are they just picking, like, I'm trying to think, because the teams that were in, what were the teams that were in Field of Dreams? There was the White Sox, there was
White
the
Sox,
Yankees,
Yankees.
the Cardinals, and the Cubs, right?
I think it was Cubs, Reds.
Or it was Cubs Reds. Yeah, it's Cubs Reds, 'cause that's why they were the second Field of Dreams game, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I am really confused on why they're doing like random teams to be in Field of Dreams. Like this year, it was Phillies Twins, and like these teams don't have any connection towards each other. Like, I think if you want to have Field of Dreams and make it the the game it was in 2021 again, you should have teams that have at least some kind of history with each other.
Yeah, I feel like they're definitely going towards like older franchises with more history. That's why you saw obviously the White Sox being a big part of the Field of Dreams movie. That's why, of course, they were the home team in the first game. Then the Yankees and the Reds and the Cubs, Phillies, Twins.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about this while watching
Mhm.
the Field of Dreams game a few nights ago. I was, I said like I guarantee next year if they have it again, it's going to be the Red Sox or the Dodgers, just because those seem like the two most storied franchises who haven't had one yet. So the fact that it's the Red Sox is pretty funny, but it makes sense. But the matchup doesn't make so much sense.
Yeah, the matchup itself, like Dodgers, if the you put the Dodgers and the Red Sox, that actually would make more sense. Like I really don't get, like, they should have at least I think you gotta have either rivals or like division rivals, or two teams that have some kind of history towards each other. Because it just, like, it doesn't make the matchup exciting. Like I didn't watch a second of Field of Dreams this time. Like this is the first year where I skipped the Field of Dreams game. This is the first time they brought it back after what? Because this is what, this is the third Field Dream game.
I believe it's the third one. Yeah,
Yeah. So because they took a break from it after 2022, I think in 23 they did some other things that were different. Like they did it was the Giants and the Cardinals. Do you remember that? They were at, I forget, they were in, like, I forget where they were, but it was like an old, like Negro League, like stadium.
I do kind of remember that. Yeah, and then last year they had the who was it? The Braves. Was it Braves and the what was it? Braves and the Reds? I don't even
But
remember
they
who
had
it was. But
the
then,
motor, the car
yeah, I
theme.
think it was Daytona. Yeah,
Yeah, Daytona. Yeah, or no, it wasn't Daytona. It wasn't Daytona, Florida. It was it was like the Daytona like racetrack, and like they played but then like the game got like postponed to the day after, and then like it just didn't have the same feeling because like people couldn't come obviously to the game if it wasn't on the day it was supposed to be.
hmm
So that game was a little weird. They should honestly, MLB. I really want to see MLB like go to more countries like again. Like I
yeah,
like when MLB was going to like Mexico, when they was going to like Puerto Rico, when they was going to like those places like every year. It felt like now it's like every
yeah.
now and then they'll go to Japan or Korea and stuff like that. So I don't know. Just something that I thought about.
That first London series with the Yankees and Red Sox was so much fun to watch. I would love them to do that again with any teams, not obviously just the Yankees.
Yeah, yeah. London was is good too. I really messed with West Ham Stadium for baseball. You know, there were some there was the Yankees game was pretty crazy. Both Yankee games, Red Sox games were pretty insane. And then when the Mets were in London, it was pretty fun too. They won that game on Sunday. It actually was a big turning point in that 2024 season. But um, I think I really want to see MLB like at least. I think they're going in the right direction with stuff like this, but like there's just definitely like the biggest question is definitely like the matchups. I think if you want to have matchups for like these kind of like games, like just make it make sense.
Yeah. Real quick, the Speedway Classic was at Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee, so I was off
Yeah.
by just a little bit. But yeah, I agree with that. I think it'd be really cool to see a series like this every year. I like when once in a while they start the season in a different country, the first series a few days early. I think that's usually pretty interesting. I don't think they did it this year. Well, they didn't do it this year because of the WBC. I think that was the reason why. But yeah, I would love to see them go out, do more special series in different places. My biggest complaint about the Field of Dreams game, though, was first off, there was no ABS. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
understand why there wasn't, but I feel like that, that definitely hurts the game a little bit. I'm not sure if there was any really questionable calls. I wasn't paying that much attention,
Hmm.
but it's definitely something that they should definitely try and get ABS there for next year because
Yeah.
if we're guaranteed a game there next year, they should definitely put ABS. However they set it up in that stadium.
Yeah, and another thing I don't get about it is like I don't think some of the players were even aware. Like when Luis Ariz like tapped his head, he like was confused.
Hmm. Yeah,
So like stuff like that is just like I do hope they next year. I do agree with you. I hope next year they really like get that. I don't know. Like they got to find a way. Like what is the reason on why? Like just out of curiosity.
why they didn't have ABS?
Hmm.
My guess is that it was probably too complicated to set up there just for one game. But if they're trying to make it a yearly tradition, they definitely should invest in that. I mean, it's a game you have marketed for the whole league, for casual fans, for people who don't watch baseball to come and watch this game at this iconic location. So you should try and put your best product out there, put your best, have all your stuff working.
Yeah, I agree.
Another thing was it's pretty funny. Um, you know, the Field of Dreams movie is about. Well, it's not about, but part of it is the Black Sox team, of course, um, who all got blacklisted from MLB for their involvement in gambling. So I found that quite interesting that they had literal gambling ads all over the outfield wall, right next to the corn.
That is kind of ironic, isn't it?
Pretty rough day for Shoeless Joe Jackson.
You know, it's interesting. I remember when we were in sports history class, there was a discussion we had about them potentially, I think, like allowing Pete Rose. I think it was Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson. Maybe not Pete Rose, but Shoeless Joe Jackson. I think they were talking about him because like if they like if you look at his stats, they looked pretty normal actually.
Yeah, there's so much um, to talk about there. With
Yeah, there is a lot to talk about for sure.
I mean, which is like everybody who's like blacklisted for MLB, but yeah, just like that team in general, Joe Jackson. There's so much like stories around it, but
Yeah, there definitely is a lot to break down. But I think that's what we could do for Field of Dreams. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a great movie. Not
great
my favorite
movie.
baseball movie. My favorite baseball movie is Major League, but that's a
That's a really
topic
good
for
movie
another
too.
day.
Yeah, I think Field of Dreams probably is my favorite. For the longest time, it was The Sandlot, but I feel like as I get older, Field of Dreams passes it.
Yeah, for
Pretty
sure.
sure Luke in the chat. Pretty sure his favorite is League of Their Own. So
Forget baseball. Russell Westbrook retired. I mean, this is a baseball podcast. I mean,
we could touch on that a little bit at the end, but I think we wasted enough time talking about non-Yankees Mets. So I think we should get into that.
I'm sorry for your loss, Luke. That's what I'll comment on when it comes to that.
Yeah, so I guess I'll get into the Yankees real quick. Try and keep it simple. So the Yankees did play a series at home against the Mariners to wrap up. I believe it was a three series homestand.
Was it? Or was it? I thought it was
It
a four.
was no, it was only three: the Cardinals, the Braves, and the Mariners. Um, yeah, so they did take the series 2 out of 3. So you look at that. That's exciting. That's what you want. The first game they take 4-1. Ryan Weathers led the way with decent pitching. Uh, he gave up a solo home run to Randy Rosarena in the sixth, but at the bottom of the seventh, the Yankees took the lead 4-1 with two RBI singles by McMahon and Grisham. Bullpen went from Hill to Hedrick to Bednar, closed it out. So the pitching once again helping the Yankees get a W. The offense did come through in 1 inning, so that was great. On Wednesday, the Yankees offense exploded even more surprisingly, and they won that game 10-5. Their first first time putting up double digits, I think, in over a month. Will Warren kind of imploded a little bit. This game was really random Wednesday night on ESPN, but Will Warren imploded a little bit. He only went 4 innings, giving up 5 runs.
Mm-hmm.
He gave up 3 in the first on 2 different homers, but the Yankees did fight back. The offensive highlights would be Spencer Jones had 2 doubles and 3 RBI. Trent Grisham had 2 homers and 4 RBI. He also had the go-ahead RBI double. Trent Grisham's been really hot recently. I'll talk about him in a little bit. But Game 3 is honestly Game 2 was definitely very memorable because of the way they came back and won that one, kept fighting. Game 3 though was very annoying. They lost that one 1-0. Max Fried went 5 innings, 1 run. The bullpen was lights out, but they just could not win the game because the offense just decided not to score any runs. They really had not many even situations where there were runners in scoring position, where it felt like they had a chance to score a run. They were just dead the whole game. They had 10 strikeouts. Credit to Logan Gilbert. He pitched really good. But, I mean, this Yankees offense has to be able to score runs, and they have to stop wasting these starts that you get from guys like Cole and Fried and Schlittler, which, speaking of, last night they started their first game in Toronto of a new series.
Oh,
Another
so
another great performance from the starter, Garrett Cole, 6 innings, 2 runs, but only one was earned. Um,
so
and they
Garrett
didn't win that
Cole
game either.
once again loses another start because the Yankees offense is stupid. Why is the Yankees offense? Why is the Yankees offense so bad when he decides to pitch? I didn't know, like genuinely.
I mean, it's not just him. I'm sure it feels like it, and I'm sure almost honestly the numbers do probably show it a little bit. Ryan Weathers definitely gets the worst run support on the team, but I mean, yeah, it's really crazy the way these guys just are not scoring right now. They're very inconsistent. I mean, like I just said, they they scored 10 runs against the Mariners on Wednesday, and then literally that was a Wednesday night game. Then they play a Thursday afternoon game, and they only put up 0. Not only they put up 0, so you go from 10 to 0 in literally 12 hours. Um, Very inconsistent. They are just really struggling right now. They just got to get their big guys back. The timelines are kind of getting more clear now. Looks like Cody Bellinger should be back by the end of the month. He could get into rehab games next week. Giancarlo Stanton could be back towards the end of the month. And I saw it. Aaron Judge is apparently already throwing. He played catch a little bit. That's a great sign. That's true. Felt nothing, getting worse. And he should be back. I mean, my guess would be early September probably. I would say we can expect Aaron Judge in MLB games DHing. So, there's that to look forward
So,
to.
wait. So when Aaron Judge comes back, is he not going to field?
I believe he will. I think they're going to ease him into it, though. I'm not going to say they'll rush him back because you cannot risk that. But I think once they're at the point where he's healthy enough to play baseball, I think they will. They prefer his bat in the lineup a few days early rather than just waiting for the defense to get there. So I feel like they'll ease him into it. He'll play DH for a little bit and then probably just switch every day, go in right field and DHing, right field DH. So I think it'll just be that kind of process. But he'll definitely be in right field again at some point this season. Um, but yeah, so last night with the game, get back on track. Trent Grisham did another homer, solo shot that broke a scoreless tie in the sixth. But then that's when the Blue Jays scored their 3 runs. After that, unanswered, Yankees lose 3-1. So they went 2-2 in the last 4 games I just talked about. Not the best. Obviously, hope bounce back. Tonight you got Cam Schlittler versus Braden Fisher. He's an opener. Me and you just figured out before we started recording. I didn't know that. So hope you can bounce back tonight. Or not tonight, actually. Games of 3.
Game 2 tonight, 3:07. Cam Schlittler on the mound today. Do you think the Yankees will get it done today?
I don't know. I mean, you seem very excited about this game.
I am very excited about this game because you know why? Because I need to see something from this Yankees offense. I got to see something. Like, I get the Yankees don't have the guys they have right now, but, like, there got to be someone, bro. There got to be someone to step up. Like, Ben Rice,
Yeah.
I think Ben Rice being kind of dropping in quality as these guys have gotten hurt has really hurt the Yankees because Ben Rice was hitting like a monster for a while.
For sure.
And he honestly, he started cooling down when these guys got hurt, the more I think about it.
Yeah, he's definitely dropped. His numbers have dropped significantly since then. He's still a great hitter. He's hitting into some of that luck that he had in the 2025 season, 2024 season as well. But, yeah, I mean, he has no protection right now, which, of course, a good hitter shouldn't need protection. But, of course, it hurts. When teams, when the opposing teams are having their meetings before the game, usually it's don't let Aaron Judge beat you. Don't let Cody Bellinger beat you. But now none of these guys are here, so they're saying don't let Ben Rice beat you. So they'll either pitch around him or the toughest at bat of the day will go to Ben Rice. So that's just how the game works. Better hitters get pitched to much better, much smarter, pitched around in some situations. But yeah, he definitely does need to step it up. Trent Grisham has stepped it up a lot as of recent, though. He had 2 home runs in that 10-run game. He had the 1 solo run the Yankees scored yesterday, which was on a solo shot. He's been really heating up recently. I felt like a lot of Yankees fans were getting very frustrated with him all around the same time about a week ago. Started hearing a lot of conversation about it. Is he at this point even worth it to keep running out there? He definitely shouldn't be leading off. Give Spencer Jones center field and just, put Grisham on the bench till guys get back and see what goes on then. But he's definitely starting to heat up recently. So that's a great sign. He was one of our better hitters last year. The reason they gave him the $22 million qualifying offer for this season. So, yeah, you'd love to see him start to continue this hot streak, try and get his numbers a little bit back to what they were last year. And, yeah, the numbers do show. He's definitely hit into some bad luck this year. But that's not the whole story, of course. Baseball isn't all about luck, but a big chunk of it is. So, yeah, would love to see Trent Grisham and Ben Rice step it up. Would love to see Cam Schlittler go into Toronto tonight, shut them down. Doesn't matter if he shuts them down or not because it's all up to the Yankees offense if they score or not. But, yeah, I think that's it right now.
Yeah,
the Yankees are 68-54, 6.5 back of the East, but 8 games ahead in the wild card. So at this point, it looks like all trends are pointing towards a wild card team, but the division isn't out of the question. But I'm also not dumb. I'm not going to sit here and say it's, 90% likely, but it's still in the question.
I'm surprised just how quick slowly over time the Rays were able to build a lead.
Yeah, I mean, this team just does not lose. I believe they were on a 9-game losing streak before losing to the Orioles last night. And, of course, the one night the Rays do lose, the Yankees can't take advantage and win. But, yeah, I mean, the Yankees just, they keep winning series. It feels like they've won most of their series recently, besides, the White Sox series, which they tied, the Cardinals series they lost. But, I mean, they won that Mariners series. They took 2 out of 3 from the Braves. They did take only 1 out of 3 from the Cardinals, 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. They split with the White Sox, 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. So, I mean, they've been winning their series. They've been playing pretty decent baseball, although it doesn't feel like it. But the Rays just do not lose. So it's tough to gain games on them in that situation. So I guess, yeah. I mean, I told you the keys coming up, Ben Rice, Trent Grisham, Cam Schlittler. Hope the offense in general can score. And you got to just hope the Rays can start losing baseball games so that by the time the end of September comes around, you can have a tight race. And that 4-game series in the last week of the year in the Bronx can be electric, and the Yankees can have a chance to take the division. But I think that's enough with them for now. The post-deadline Mets. I mean, that team started off pretty hot.
Dude, the
slowed down a little bit, but they're
post
not bad.
Let's just get it. I'm so sorry. I've been kind of like busy. I haven't really paying attention, but like the post deadline Mets, man, have been a very interesting team to watch. I can't lie.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like,
they took their first 2 series, right? And then
mhm.
unfortunately did just lose a series in Atlanta, but they did take game 1 against the Nats last night.
Yeah. So I'll get into a little bit of the games. I really only watched the first game. I didn't really tune into the second or third game just because I was working. But the first game, I mean, they got off to a really, 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 really hot start against Bryce Elder. They got right into it. Brett Beatty hit a grand slam. So, I mean, there's that. They started off pretty hot. I mean, I think it was Brett Beatty's first grand slam. And if you remember, Brett Beatty, the first time he actually hit a home run was in Atlanta.
I don't remember that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, you might not remember that, and it's okay. But they got off to a really hot start quick. They were able to get 8 runs, and then the Braves slowly starting to chip down, but there just wasn't enough time for the Braves to make a comeback in that game. So the Mets ended up taking 1-0. And if you want my honest opinion after that game, my outlook was that if they wanted to win this series, they were going to have to win game 2. If they lost game 2, they weren't going to win this series because of Nolan McLean on the mound. Nolan McLean was honestly great, but somehow the Mets just like whatever they did, they just could not get runs. They had runners on the corner on multiple occasions. Bench, he hit a double play with runners on the corner when the game was 2-0. McLean was really good, but other than the home run, he was good. But because of how just like the Mets just like, I don't know, the Mets were cursed that day. They really just could not get like a run inside no matter how good. There was a
Sounds
point
like
in time.
The Yankees right now.
Yeah, the Mets had like no joke. Like at one point in the game, it was 2-0. It was 2-0. The Mets had like 6 hits and the Braves had like 1, which was the home run. Those are like the most frustrating games when a team is out hitting a team by like a decent margin and all the runs are scored from the other team by home runs.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when one team has a whole bunch of like hard hit balls that are just outs, like just barely line out or just barely got over it and it's a ground out. But then, the other team has just 2 hits, like, maybe a couple bloops and 1 homer and you're down 3-0.
Yeah. So like overall, like that was game that was game 2. They just I did the biggest I guess the moment the game really went out of reach for the Mets was really when Matt Olson hit his home run. He hit it out like it was a monster shot. And after that, they just didn't have a chance to win. And then while they did have a chance, honestly, they definitely were fighting in game 3. The Braves were just playing better and just had a better team. But with this win, the first win in that series, the Mets for the first time since 2017 have beaten the Braves in a season series.
Wow, that's actually really impressive. Especially on a year like this for the Mets. It's been, for the most part, disappointing. To have something like that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's incredible that that they were able to do this, like they were able to just, it's crazy. It's crazy that the Mets, even in a shitty season, the fact that the Mets have probably been the best they've been against their division in a while, in a year where they've been terrible, it's just a very Mets thing. It's just very Metsy. Oh, of course, the year that we don't have anything to play for against the Braves, we win a season series against.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. It feels like a lot of the times when the Mets do have solid teams, they're on the verge of the playoffs or are a wild card team. It feels like one of their biggest weaknesses is they just don't play their division too well throughout the year. Of course, that wasn't the story in 2024, at least in October, when they eliminated the Phillies. But it does feel like whenever they do have good teams, one of their biggest weaknesses is just not playing their division well, which is kind of the same thing with the Yankees. I mean, last year they did not play their division well at all, and that was definitely their biggest weakness because they lost the division. with the same record as the Blue Jays, but they lost because of a tiebreaker.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that for sure. So, um, with that being said, I mean that's definitely like that series. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about, like in the specifics. I mean, I could maybe talk about like game three a little bit more, um, if you want. The final score of that game was 6-3. So I mean, it was a pretty solid game. But you know, Mets just didn't really have it in that game. They definitely had chances to maybe potentially tie the game, but I didn't think that game was in reach. Zach Thornton wasn't, his best. He I feel like Zach Thornton had a really really good start, but he obviously, as most rookie pitchers, people start getting used to their stuff. They start seeing stuff. They start doing film, and eventually it gets to the point where the rookie pitchers got to start to have to really develop.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's really all it is. I mean there just wasn't a whole lot to talk about. Yeah, they really don't want to talk about. I mean, the Braves just played better. I mean, the Braves are a better team objectively. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that they lost this series. I really didn't think they were going to win this series though after they lost game 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with your best pitcher on the mound, feels like those games you really have to take. And again, I'm sorry I keep kind of interrupting your Mets segment talking about the Yankees, but again, another parallel with this team too is that you get these constant great starts from your starters, your trio of aces basically, and then you just the offense doesn't score to help them out. So, yeah, but definitely with the Mets, McClain on the mound, it feels like a game you got to take. And it's nice to see, for example, Beatty's grand slam. Nice to see the younger guys, which Beatty's a younger guy at this point, but still a guy you love to see develop more for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I am curious to see where this team is going to head. But I think a big thing that this team will not be heading with is Luis Robert. So the rumor is that Luis Robert, the Mets are going to pay out his contract of $20 million and pay the $2 million buyout. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think Robert could be good enough, or even could you even see Luis Robert like fitting on the Mets like as like a DH or a DH / backup center fielder? Like what? Because honestly, I like Luis Robert. I do like him a lot. Well, I was really happy when they brought him over, but if they're, it seems like you're not going to bring them back. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think that you could see the Mets bringing him back, or do you think they should bring him back?
Yeah, it depends. Do you know how much money he would be getting paid next year?
So he would be getting paid $20 million.
Yeah, 20 million is kind of a big price for a bench piece. If you think he has more in the tank to provide to this team for next season as an everyday center fielder or a fourth outfielder who rotates, maybe give Soto some days DH. Maybe the Mets also saw how he wasn't really healthy throughout this year, and maybe that's
Yes.
part of the reason.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his numbers now. I mean, hitting 216 with 645 OPS, 6 homers. Of course, yeah, like I just said, he was hurt a lot of the year, but those numbers they don't really stand off. Um, they're not something that you would want to add to a team, I don't think. But if he's here already, if they think that there's more they can get out of him, I could say it's worth it maybe. But I would say you've talked a lot about how it seems like the Mets have their 3 outfielders in the future in Ewing, Benj, and Soto. So I feel like it's probably the best move. Use that money somewhere else at a position you need more help at. Maybe try and bring a starter in. Maybe try and get some bullpen help. Maybe try and get a real first baseman. So
Yeah, that'd be nice.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's probably a smart business and baseball move. It probably does suck to see a player like that leave, especially because you feel like he could have contributed so much more to the team this year, but injuries really put a stop to that. But yeah, I mean, I think I probably agree with the Mets there.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely like financially and logistically, it does make sense. I think if you do want to bring him back at anything, I think maybe could bring him back on a cheaper deal. Because the thing about Luis Robert is, you're right. The thing is that like you're not gonna pay a guy $20 million to not play. Like that's the problem. I think a lot of these guys, like Jorge Polanco, is getting paid $20 million. and he's barely played the entire year, and he hasn't been good this year. So like, I am like I'm very I get it. It makes sense, and they that's the I think that's the biggest problem with the Mets right now is that a lot of their offseason moves like obviously haven't lived to the contract, but it's really the fact that they're getting paid a lot, like just annually. Like these guys are getting paid a lot this year. You know, I think a lot like this team was definitely trying to like go big or go home for sure, but too many moving pieces at once, and the fact that they like thought that it's fine to pay guys like dude like that's the problem. Like they're paying these guys a lot of money a year. Like in the grand scheme of things, like it's not like it doesn't look crazy, but when you look at like how much they're getting a year, it's like damn, like these guys aren't worth that much money.
Yeah, for sure. And 20 million is a lot, you know, especially when you think about I think the odds are really low, but we could be playing with a salary cap next year. So 20 million could be spent in a much better way. And that's under those circumstances. So
yeah, that is very true. I actually didn't think about that. That was a very good point, Ryan. You made a really good point there. They could be. I think it's very smart of the GM to kind of consider the possibility of that and maybe manage your team a little bit with a little bit of the expectation that there is going to be one. And if there isn't, then you're also set up pretty well because then you could kind of just go back to what your game plan was before. But I think it is good to kind of like game plan now, like how you would have your team set up if there was a salary cap.
Yeah. I think that's I think that's probably a big part of the reason too that we weren't considering until now. But that also reminds me of a very similar situation with the New York Yankees. I can't believe how many times this has happened this episode, but Jazz Chisholm Jr. is a free agent at year's end, and a report came out that it seems like the Yankees. This seems pretty obvious, but the Yankees are not expected to give him the qualifying offer. So they're expected to just let him walk, and they'll find someone else to play second base next year. I like Jazz a lot. I think he comes with a lot of, you know, irrelevant issues in a way. You know, like the lollipop, and just everything that comes along with him. But I think he's a fun player. I really like watching him. But he's having a very bad year this year, very underwhelming. So I understand that decision as well. It's a lot of money for a second baseman who's not hitting above, I think, not even 220, 230. So that makes sense. They'll find somebody else to play second.
How much is the qualifying offer?
Last year it was 22 point something. That's what they gave Trent Grisham. I'm not sure what it is for next year. I think it changes yearly. But I mean, yeah, it's
yeah, I mean, I don't think Jazz is really worth all that much for a year, unfortunately. I just gotta be rude to you. I don't think Jazz is worth all that much. 22 now. I think his stock has definitely dropped a little bit. Like he's not Jazz Chisholm like when like 2023, 2024, like trade deadline Yankees Jazz Chisholm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just looked it up. Most of the qualifying offer is estimated around 23.1 million for next year. So that's a pretty steep price.
Yeah.
I think Jazz would, for him, I think he would be better off going somewhere on a 1-year deal, maybe.
Yo, the Mets would gladly take Jazz Chisholm, bro. I would gladly replace whoever I'll gladly take Jazz.
I mean,
for a
1 year. Yeah, that
1 year, like a 1 year, like $10 million deal. I'll take that.
If I had to plan out the rest of Jazz's career, or not plan, I guess predict, my prediction is he goes somewhere on a 1 to 2 year deal, probably similar to Bo Bichette's contract, with like a lot of player options for a few years, but also probably not getting paid nearly as much. Something similar to that. Maybe with like the Pirates or the Reds or just some like, you know, mid wild card team or whatever. And he'll have a career season, and then he'll opt out because he knows he'll get paid. And I got a really good feeling that he'll sign with the New York Mets for a pretty steep contract and probably be mediocre for the rest of his career.
I feel like I actually think that the Mets will give him. I could definitely see the Mets giving him now a stupid contract, like a kind of like I could see him getting. Like, I kind of agree with you. I could see him getting like a Bo Bichette kind of contract. like now
I mean,
from the Mets.
he's proved himself that he can have great years. It's just this year's been really bad.
Yeah,
And
like
the
right,
Yankees,
like
I just don't think they want to run it back with him.
not for. I think the Yankees could run it back for him, but it's like Luis Robert. Like I could see it. Like you could see like you like Jazz enough. Like you like just like I like Luis Robert enough to like for wanting him to be back on the team, just not for that price, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a chance Yankees bring him back on a cheaper deal. Maybe he wants to run it with a 1 year prove it deal, and maybe he wants to do it with the Yankees. Maybe the Yankees will bring him back for that reason. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
and
guess we'll have to see, but it definitely makes sense not to give him the qualifying offer.
you know I said this like when he first got traded. I feel like Jazz is such a Yankee player. Like he just gives me like he has such a he just screams a Yankee player. So like I actually would want to see him back on the Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another thing I want to
I
talk
like
about
watching
though,
him.
yeah. Another thing I want to talk about though is like how I think it's hilarious how the Red Sox, ever since they got accused of cheating, have been losing a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Um, I mean, they've been on a pretty bad stretch recently.
Yeah, and now we're at a point where if we look at I'm gonna pull up the MLB playoff picture again. But last time I checked, I saw the Tigers were the last wild card team.
Yeah, they're 4-6 in the last 10 right now. Are the Red Sox? They went on that crazy streak. I mean, something I've never seen before. They won like it was something I don't know the
15 in
exact
a row.
numbers. It was something around like
15 in a row.
35-5. Yeah, like it was some crazy stuff. But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, now they're. I mean, they were just on a 5-game lose streak, and then they just won one against Toronto, and they lost against Pittsburgh yesterday. So, I mean, yeah,
if
going on that
only
crazy hot
if
streak and then going 1-6 in your next 7 is pretty insane.
yeah, man. I think the strat like I saw someone say I saw like an account say that if you had bet the red like $10 on the Red Sox, for every game or like if you like I saw like the stat was like I saw like the amount of money that like people could have made if they had bet the Red Sox during that winning streak. If you had bet it, it would have been like 1,000 like I think it was like $1,400.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely
It
something.
was a crazy run.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it was the Red Sox. Out of any team in the league, it could have been. It was them. But I mean, yeah, it was pretty special. Like I've mentioned a few times, I mean, they have a few players I like who used to be in the Yankees farm system. It sucks they're on the Red Sox, but I mean, yeah, I mean, for the sport, it was definitely something fun. For the Yankees and their wild card race or even division race, it wasn't that fun. But now they've definitely got some. They've gained some ground against them in the last week, so not that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be interesting as we get now fully into the deep into the dog days of summer and slowly creeping to September. We're now already halfway through August already. Fucking these months are just blowing by. I feel like when it comes to like in just general, I feel like the summer really just came and went.
Yeah,
I had no time to really like just like do my thing and I really appreciate this summer. Especially after June. But
yeah, it's really gone fast.
if you look at the picture right now, we have the Yankees and the Red Sox are the two wildcard teams. They have a pretty decent margin compared to the rest of the American League. But then the Tigers are 16-62, and then you have the Twins, Rangers are half a game out. So yeah, the American League just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those wild card standings, and the Blue Jays and the Orioles are both a game back. How insane would it be if all three wild card teams are AL East teams? I mean,
Yeah, man. It's like I would be very surprised if Baltimore somehow sneaks in. Like
yeah,
that one.
they're game
I
back,
don't
so
think they'll even do anything. I don't think they'll even do anything because their pitching is like genuinely like not good. It's just not that good. Their pitching has
yeah,
always been one of their things about them, and they did get rid of guys at the deadline. So I think if there's any chance between all wildcard teams being AL East teams, I think you're better probably be the Blue Jays just because like they're kind of treading water. Like they haven't been like they've just been really mediocre this year. They've had a very like hangover kind of season.
Yeah, they've dealt with a lot of injuries too, and a year away from a World Series appearance, it definitely feels like they have a better chance. But I mean, yeah, but you also look at Cleveland, a game and a half back. They're usually a playoff team. Seattle, 3.5 back, also pretty. They were expected to honestly win their division, so I can see those two teams going on a run in the next month and a half, possibly getting the last wild card spot or something like that. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the AL East is. I don't think it's crazy to say it's the best division, definitely the best division in the American League, but probably the best division in baseball, or at least the most
Yeah, I
competitive.
wouldn't. It's definitely the most competitive. I definitely wouldn't disagree with you there, man. Like the fact that the Orioles still have a shot is pretty crazy because I really feel like they haven't been that good this year, and the Blue Jays too.
Yeah, the three best records in the American League belong to the Rays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox. But the White Sox and the Astros have a higher seeding than the Yankees and the Red Sox because they're both
In a
their
horrible
division. They're
division.
leading their division. So
Also, I want to add, isn't I was looking at the other games like for Monday for the next series next after this
mhm.
weekend series. I I noticed so the Cubs are going to be playing the White Sox. I thought it was really interesting how like I feel like this is the first time in a while I've seen the White Sox and Cubs face off each other like in their series because they play the Crosstown Classic every year, but
Yeah,
they like this is probably the first time I could genuinely remember both teams being good going into this
yeah,
series.
yeah. That's actually a good point. I can't remember. I really can't remember a series where both teams were good and it was very competitive. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of the time it kind of feels like the Dodgers Angels series where like for some reason randomly once every few years the Angels would just sweep the Dodgers out of nowhere.
Yes. Yeah. Didn't they
It
sweep them?
kind of feels
I
like
think
that.
was it last year they swept them.
It was one of them. It was definitely last year, the year before the Dodgers got swept by the Angels in one of the series.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely interesting. It's been definitely interesting to see what is happened in baseball these last few years and days. You know, but that's why like I was just pointing that out because like the 1 year the White Sox were like really good, 21 White Sox team. The Cubs were bad because they sold
Hmm.
everybody. They sold Rizzo, they sold Baez, they sold Bryant. So
Yeah,
like they like I'm trying to think like, genuinely there has been a time like because the Mets and Yankees there's been plenty. I think there's been a few times where both teams were pretty good going into the
hmm,
series. Um, but not the Cubs and White Sox. That definitely is a first.
yeah. For me, I definitely can't remember a time. That's a good point. So that'll be an interesting series to see.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's definitely. I think that's honestly it. Like I think that's really all there's to talk about. I think is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I feel like the series were pretty straightforward. I think for both teams. I think the Yankees definitely got a
Yeah,
little more to their series. But we'll see what happens. I guess I'll talk about yesterday's game. I guess either tomorrow or Monday. Um, I'm never really doing anything on a Sunday night, so I have no problem doing the episode. Um, but yeah, I think that's all there is to say. So Mets they already took game one against the Nationals. Robert Stock pitched against them, and they're playing. Sean Manae's gonna be pitching today. We talked about a lot about his starts and how good he's been these last few starts. Do we think he'll keep it up?
I mean, I don't see why not, especially against a Nationals team that honestly, I mean, they're playing pretty well, but they did sell the deadline a little bit. So I
Yeah, best
mean,
offense in baseball apparently at one point. I think.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's by runs scored. Um, yeah, I mean, at home, I don't see why not. I don't see why you wouldn't go out there and have a decent start.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Like just kind of hope for the best at this point. So, but I guess with that being said, I think we could just wrap it up. Anything else you want to say, Ryan, or not?
Nope, that's it. I think that's all for episode 28.
So I guess with that being said, Kodai Senga as a closer is the GOAT, and
Yeah,
we'll see you in the next
that's
episode.
something we got to see more of a sample size too, but that's something we could talk about in the future. I mean, that's a story right there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next episode. So with that being said, this is Dylan. This is Ryan. Thank you guys for another episode of Shadow the Apple, and we will see you guys in the very next episode of Shadow the
Yep,
Apple.
let's go Yankees.
And let's go Mets.